What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my review of the Bold N2. So let's get started. Now, if you're not familiar with the Bold brand, they're a sub-brand owned by Blue Smartphones, and Bold is meant to be a little bit more premium compared to what you'd expect from a typical Blue product. That being said though, I would like to thank Blue for sending this phone out to me to cover here on the channel, and all opinions expressed in this video, of course, are completely my own. Now, as the name of this device does imply, the Bold N2 is the successor to the Bold N1. Now, that device launched about 2 years ago, I believe. It might have been even further back in time. So it has been a decent amount of time since we've gotten a new Bold device, but this one certainly seems like a very worthy successor to the Bold N1. Now, before I show you a variety of different things about the Bold N2, let's take a closer look and see what all comes included here in the box. So here is the box. You can see right there, there's the phone. Then on the back of the box, we have some of the highlights that we're getting here with the device, but I'll be going over all of this throughout the video. Now, in typical Blue fashion, we do get a lot of different accessories included here in the box, so I'll show you all those right now. So included here is a Bold sticker, which is nice. We also have a dual SIM installation guide. There is a quick start guide for the device itself. We have a SIM card removal tool. We have a USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. We have a 30-watt USB wall adapter, so that's really impressive. And it's also really cool that this phone even supports 30-watt fast charging. So very cool that we can recharge this phone very quickly. We also have USB-C headphones, and the headphones do feature a microphone as well. So certainly nice that we have USB-C headphones here, as that's something that I pretty much never see included with the smartphone. We also have a 3.5mm to USB-C headphone adapter, so another awesome thing. So not only can you use the included USB-C headphones, but if you do happen to have other wired headphones that you do want to use with the device, then you can always pair it up with this adapter here. And we also have a really durable case, so great to see this included too. That's one less thing that you'll have to buy if you end up getting this phone. Now, unfortunately, there is no screen protector included in the box, so you will have to get that separate if you do want that. However, it is worth noting that the phone did come with kind of a plastic film over the display, but it's not a tempered glass screen protector or anything like that, so I took it off. So it's definitely very nice that we do get so many things included here, and this makes this phone even more of a value. Now, according to Blue, this device features an MSRP of $349. However, for a brief period of time, this phone will be offered at $249. The only thing is, with that initial sales price, that is being offered while supplies last, and the last time they offered this, it seems like that deal was pretty much over within about 45 minutes of the phone launching. So I will be leaving a link in the video description, but if the price is different from that initial sales price, then unfortunately you have missed the deal. That being said though, it's certainly possible that over an extended period of time, this phone will be offered with various promotions and deals. So regardless of when you're watching, definitely take a look and see what the phone is being offered at, as I'm pretty sure most people will not be paying full MSRP for it anyway. Now with the Bold N2, we have a very large 6.6-inch display. Now this display is AMOLED, it's a 1080p display, we have a PPI of 393, and we have a 19.5:9 aspect ratio. We also have a curved display panel here as well. So this display looks really good. It's pretty incredible that we're getting such a great looking display for such an affordable device like this one. And I really wish Blue would incorporate these AMOLED displays on every device that they sell. But at least for now, I'm glad that they are offering it here with the Bold N2. So viewing angles are excellent. Brightness is also as good as it really could possibly be. So in general, this device is an excellent phone for content consumption, whether that's going on social media, watching video content, looking at images, everything's going to be super bright and really pop on this display. So all in all, I definitely think that's probably one of the best features about this phone. Now you probably noticed that we do have a pretty large hole punch up top here, and this does feature a dual front-facing camera setup with a 16-megapixel main camera and a 2-megapixel depth sensing camera to assist with portrait mode. Now pretty much every Android device that I've covered anytime recently does already offer portrait mode with the front camera, and they do achieve that with just one camera instead of two. So I'm not really sure why they had to give us two cameras here to assist with portrait mode for the front camera, but overall the results that it does take are good, and you'll see that later on in the video. So I suppose other than it taking up more space than your typical smartphone hole punch, it's not a bad thing to have. Now this device features 256 gigabytes of internal storage along with microSD card expansion. So that's a lot of storage for a very affordable device like this one. I mean, there's devices that are well over $500 or $600 that don't even offer this much internal storage at the base configuration. So this is another really awesome thing about this phone, and especially makes it worthwhile. Now, unfortunately, there is no wireless charging to be found with the Bold N2. And that's a bit surprising and disappointing, considering that the predecessor phone, the Bold N1, did have wireless charging. Now, this phone has an in-display fingerprint sensor that does work really well. It's nice and fast and responsive. Honestly, I'd say it's just as good, if not better, than the one that we're getting with the Pixel 6a. And that's really saying a lot, considering this phone is a fraction of the price of that device. Now, in addition to having the in-display fingerprint sensor, this phone also features Face Unlock, so I do appreciate that we have multiple methods for getting into the phone. And again, this in-display fingerprint sensor is really quick, really accurate. I really wasn't expecting that with a phone as affordable as this one, but they definitely did a great job incorporating it, and overall, it's a great feature. Now, this device features a quad camera setup with the rear cameras. So there's a 64 megapixel main camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide angle camera that can capture images at up to 115 degrees. We have a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera, and a 2 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. So this phone does indeed support portrait mode for both the front and rear cameras. So here's how things look with the main camera. Then from here, we can switch over to the ultra wide angle camera, which does allow us to fit a lot more content into the frame. We can also then head over to the More tab, where we have a bunch of different options. So there's night mode, pro mode. There's also a 128 megapixel mode, which is kind of interesting. There's GIF capture, beauty mode, panorama, slow motion, time lapse, intelligent scanning, and also macro. So with that macro camera, we can get very close up here, as you can see. So certainly a nice feature to have, especially compared to not having it at all for that matter. Then we can go over to portrait mode and get those nice blurred out backgrounds. We can also flip around to the front facing camera and do the same thing. So there's me right there, and you really get a solid blur here. You can adjust that if you want to as well. So overall, some pretty nice features here. Now heading over to video mode, video recording with the rear camera does max out at 2K, which is kind of interesting, but as you can see there, 2K. We also have the option for 1080p as well, but it is limited at just 30 FPS, and then the front-facing camera does max out at 1080p. Now overall, I've been really happy with the performance that this device provides with its RAM and processor configuration. So with the Bold N2, we're getting 8 gigabytes of RAM paired up with the MediaTek Dimensity 810 processor. So I did run a Geekbench 5 benchmark test with the phone, and here are the scores I got from that test. So I got a single core score of 553 and a multi-core score of 1704. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and then compare your scores to these scores to get a better idea of how this phone compares to your device. Now, of course, the benchmark scores don't necessarily tell the whole story, as the general usability of the phone can be different sometimes in relation to those benchmark scores. But from my experience of using the phone, things do run very smoothly. Definitely one of the better performing devices that Blue has created. So in general, I'm pretty happy with the performance, and especially considering the price range this phone's offered in, I feel like things really can't be much better than they are. Now with that processor, we are getting 5G connectivity. So if you do want to use your carrier's latest and greatest mobile network, then you can do that here with the Bold N2. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with the performance we're getting, and they really did the best that they could have, in my opinion, given the price they're offering this phone at. Now, this device features a 4,200 milliamp hour internal battery. Now, that's a decently large size battery, but what makes things really good with this phone is that it does support 30 watt fast charging. So, for example, when I first unboxed this device, it was at about 50% charge, and I plugged it into that 30 watt adapter, and it recharged back to 100% very quickly. I mean, I think it was definitely like an hour or less than an hour for sure, and everything was back to 100%. So not only is it nice that this phone recharges at a very rapid pace, but it's also great that we get that charger included in the box, because most people don't have 30 watt fast chargers laying around. They typically have 5 watt chargers, which of course is a fraction of 30 watts. So again, getting that charger included here makes this phone an even better value. So it's definitely very convenient that this phone can be recharged very quickly. Now there's two things that are a bit unfortunate with this device. The first is that the software is Android 11 here out of the box. Now, Blue does not have a good track record at all with software updates. Now they will deploy security patches here and there, and especially when it's necessary, but as far as full major Android software updates like getting Android 12 or 13, I wouldn't expect to get that here with the phone. In fact, the phone that came out prior to this one, the Bold N1, specifically promised as a selling point of the device that it would get at least one major Android software update, and it literally took them like a year and a half to even give us the update, and the software that came out with the phone I'm pretty sure was already pretty much almost outdated. And honestly, if it wasn't for a bunch of people tweeting at Bold over a period of about a year, I feel like they never would have even done the software update at all. So I guess what I mean is, don't get this phone expecting to get any major Android software updates. And if you do, that'll be great. That will help rebuild Blue's reputation when it comes to this. And also, and I'm glad that they're not doing it this time, no company should be promising software updates if they don't 100% intend on actually fulfilling that promise. It's better to underpromise and overdeliver than the opposite. So with this phone having Android 11, keep in mind, Android 13 is almost out. So this phone not only needs to be updated to Android 12, but eventually to Android 13 to even be current. So we're already very behind here. I mean, even if the phone came out with Android 12, that's really the bare minimum. So the fact that we have Android 11 here really is pretty disappointing. Now, is that a deal breaker? It really depends. I think for most people it probably isn't, because it's still a perfectly good phone, everything works really well, and even if it's stuck in Android 11 forever, it'll be able to do everything that it can do right now. Of course, part of this phone having a very affordable price and them giving us a lot of hardware bonuses included here means that they have to kind of cut costs in other ways, such as the software. So I just want to make it clear what expectations you should have if you end up getting this phone. And then the other downside with this device is that there is no NFC. So that's pretty surprising. I definitely feel like it should have had NFC. And I know for me personally, I use NFC to make mobile contactless payments all the time with any device that I use that does have that feature. So I do wish we had that here. But let's take a look at some image samples from the Bold N2. Now, I wasn't expecting too much from the various cameras on this device, but I'm actually really impressed. Now, of course, you shouldn't expect the same level of quality that you'd find with a much more expensive device, like an iPhone, for example. But for what it is, as a upper, lower end device, I'm really happy with the quality here. I'll definitely let it speak for itself. As you can see, everything looks really clear, and you'll have no problem taking great usable photos with this phone. And the portrait mode for the front-facing camera is also excellent. But let's now take a look at some video samples from the Bold N2. What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with a 1080p front-facing test video from the Bold N2. I'm definitely curious to know what you think of both the video and audio quality. And here is a test video from the Bold N2 using the main rear camera, recording in 2K. Now, with this device, you cannot use the ultra-wide-angle camera to capture video, but of course, as you can see here, you can do that with the main camera. And we do have pretty quick autofocus in video mode, which is a great thing to see. But taking a closer look at the hardware of the device, it's really good. So I really like the look of the phone. Definitely looks like a much more premium device than it even is. And also this material on the back of the phone kind of looks like a fake leather a little bit. It is soft to the touch, and certainly they're unique compared to just having a glossy back or a matte finish. So I really like the way it looks, and in general, I think Blue did a great job with the design here. Some aspects of this phone do remind me quite a bit of the Galaxy S10, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I like that we have really small bezels as well, all throughout the front of the device here, and having that curved display really does make things feel even more immersive here. Now on the left side of the device, we have nothing. On the right side, we have volume up, volume down, and the power button. Up top here, we have the noise-canceling microphone. And then on the bottom of the device, we have the slot for the micro SD card and SIM card, microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the speaker. And then on the back of the phone, we have Bold N2 branding. We also have the camera module and then the flash, and that's pretty much it. So in conclusion, I think the Bold N2 is an excellent value here. We're getting a lot at a very affordable price tag. I'm really impressed with how good this display is. It's really excellent, and also that we're getting so much internal storage at 256 gigabytes, and that we're getting really good cameras, and that we're also getting a really accurate in-display fingerprint sensor. So in general, if you're looking to get a very capable Android device, but you're not looking to spend too much, this might be one of the best options out there. Really the biggest downside with with this device is that it runs Android 11, that it has no NFC, and I suppose that it doesn't have wireless charging. But other than those three things, we're getting a lot here. But I hope you enjoyed my review of the Bold N2. If you liked it, definitely give it a thumbs up. Again, thank you Blue for sending this phone out to me to cover here on the channel. Take a look at the various links in the video description to see the most up-to-date pricing. But this is Kevin here, and I will see you in the next video.